All right, 7th graders, you are in the home stretch. This week is the last week of the elk case study. It will be due tomorrow, March 11th. Okay, please know that if you are opening up part 6 and you guys haven't done any of the introduction, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, or part 5, this is not going to make any sense to you, and you really do need to just go back and do those beginning parts first. Okay, those of you guys who are all caught up though and are moving on to finish this up, this is part 6, and your learning target is I can predict how the jaw malformation has affected the size of the elk herd in the Madison River Valley. So this really is our last part of tying in everything that we've learned so far in the unit, you know, whether it was what the habitats look like, what the elk, the reintroduction of wolves to the Yellowstone National Park has done to the elk, the jaw malformations and the information knowing that there's silicon dioxide that's causing, you know, in their food that's causing these jaw malformations. And now you guys finally get to tie everything in together to figure out, all right, well, why is that, you know, why are they not only dying younger, but why is their herd also smaller? Okay, so as usual, you're going to read, highlight, and answer questions. Here's your last little part to read. Wolves primarily prey on the young and weak members of a population. Because the average age of the Madison River Valley elk herd has been reduced due to the toxic levels of fluorine and the ingestion of silicon dioxide, greater numbers of adult elk are susceptible to predation by wolves due to the reduced number of younger elk. In addition, the snowpack on the slopes adjacent to the Madison River Valley is deep. Wolves have learned to force the elk away from the geothermal areas in the river drainage and into the surrounding slopes where the elk get stuck in the deep snow and become easy prey. So make sure you guys do your highlighting and then move on to your questions. What additional evidence is presented and how does it further explain the reduced population in the Madison River Valley elk herd? So you really get to tie this up and say, all right, we already know why they're dying young. Now why is their herd population so much smaller? And then finally, explain all the reasons why there are differences between the elk in the Lamar Valley and the elk in the Madison River Valley. So really, you guys are tying this all together, okay? Why do they die younger in Madison River, and why is their population size different? Again, think about everything we've learned so far, okay? I know it's been over a span of 5 weeks. Review if you need to, but tie in all those factors that you've learned about, like their habitat, reintroduction of wolves, silicon dioxide and jaw malformation. Tie those all together to explain why they not only die younger in Madison River, but they have a smaller population as well. And then finally, explain how habitat plays a role in the differences between two elk herds. So I briefly explained in one of our very first lessons that, you know, when we look at an ecosystem, that the non-living factors in that ecosystem are just as important as all the living organisms that live there. Things like weather, okay, landscape, those things. So think about what you guys have read about the ecosystem or the habitat that these elk live in Yellowstone National Park, and how does that factor into the fact that this one herd over the other herd living in the same ecosystem but just a little bit different habitat are getting eaten and dying faster? How does it play a role in that? Okay, so once you guys are done with this, I want you guys to watch the follow-up on the last slide that just kind of explains everything to you, and then you guys can turn this in. I hope you're all having a great day. Bye.